Well, hello, interwebsies. Man, I can't believe finally here. Okay, skies above Britain, waiting for 1,000 years for this. Come on, GMT, just move to East Coast already. You know you wanna. All right. Anyway, so this is not an unboxing video. I hate those things. This is just me opening my box. Check this out. I got this for my birthday. The Kershaw Scallion. Bam! These knives. Okay, so we are gonna set this up. And bam, it's all set up. More than set up. I've been playing through these training scenarios, and I even got to my first patrol. Made lots of mistakes, but I think I've got a decent handle on the rules, and so just for fun and just for reinculcation, I'm going to go through all the training scenarios of this fantastic game so far. We'll see how it holds up in the long run. A little more complicated than Skies Above the Reich, or Storm Above the Reich, whatever have you. You can see here's our sequence of play. A little bit elaborate, but it is well organized. If you follow the sequence in play, you're generally going to be all right. So let me do this. I'm going to make a disclaimer here. This is not learn to play. This is just my whole philosophy of this channel is that I'm just doing what I love best, which is playing my games, and I happen to have a camera on, and you're like a friend who's come over to the house and is just looking over my shoulder as I play this. And hopefully you do learn something or just enjoy. And by the way, and speaking of which, I'm learning stuff, so if you do see a mistake, go ahead and sound off in the comments. If you want to add a little historical context, that's fine as well. The only thing I'd ask is if you do see a mistake, put a timestamp on it, so it's easier for me to find without having to go through the whole video to find it and see where it is. But the other thing I'll try to do is do a more organized playlist, so people can just click through to the next episode rather than hunting around. All right, scenario 1, called A Flyby. And just a little note that there's another YouTube channel called Wise Guy History, and he has gone through these training scenarios as well with more of a teaching method. If you want to go check his out. Me, I'm just kind of going through it. I will do rules, of course, but I'm not gonna. Like I said, this is not learn to play. But the first scenario. And the nice thing about this is they organize it just like Atlantic Chase. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the scenarios start very simple and get more complicated as you go on. And the first one's actually quite easy, but we'll go ahead and read this scenario here. August 1940, Flight Lieutenant Gordon Olive, A Flight, 65th Squadron, maneuvered above a formation of Junkers 88s when tracers indicated that I was being shot at, and I turned to meet a head-on attack by a lone ME-109. We flew at each other, all guns going, and I ducked under him at the last moment. You are Gordon Olive, facing your enemy alone at the start of this dogfight. See if you can bag your quarry. Okay, so this is very rudimental dogfight. This is the very, very simple right here. Now, you may remember in Storm or Skies Above the Reich, dogfighting was basically you just rolling a dice and consulting a chart, and most of the time it was all the same. Either way you went, basically you were taken out of the fight, and there was nothing more to it. It's a little more complicated than that here, but so here we have a Spitfire. We have Gordon's Spitfire, and here comes his 109 coming right at him. A little block here. Anyway. Head on and tailing, and that's really what a dogfight comes down to. 3 steps. One is for head on, and the next one is for tailed. That would be if he was behind me. And tailing, whereas I'd be on his butt. Okay, but, and I can already see I'm on the wrong deck. This is the Hurricane deck. I need the Spitfire deck. Oh, what's the difference between a Spitfire and a Hurricane, you may ask? Well, in game terms, I mean, I'll let an expert come in here and spit it, or you can go look at Bruce Dickinson's World of Warplanes scene. The Spitfires tend to be better against 109 fighters. The Hurricanes tend to have a little more power for bombers. That's general in the game. The Messerschmitt apparently had guns in the nose that were a little more powerful when it's a head-on situation. But anyway, all you do, draw a card, and we go to the head-on section. We are a single aircraft and not a section. We'll get into that later. And we're going up against a ME-109. The other one is a, what do you call them? 110. BF? I can't remember. Anyway, so here and here. And so we go like this. Now, all right, go in this box, and I have to apply all three of these icons. I can apply them in any order, but I have to apply them all. So there's, first of all, there's the C, which stands for collision. And what that amounts to is I roll a die, and if I hit a 1, everybody dies. 2, just missed it, so we're okay, no collision. Second one is a hit on me. And those of you who remember Skies Above the Reich, or Storm Above the Reich, will remember these hit markers, except with the cross. They have a fuselage for 4. The last one is Vanish. And basically, you can think of it as the BF-109, just really fast, because it was head-on. They're both coming in at double speed. And he goes. He probably might have had bigger fish to fry, who knows. But that's what Vanish is, and it's important. And all right, I need to be very careful here. Let me see if I can find. There is a big difference between reduced, and I didn't get this rule until long into the game, and Vanish. Reduce would be like if I had 2 fighters and I got a reduce marker, I would flip it over to 1. It would basically subtract. 1 fighter would break off. Vanish means the entire fighter marker disappears. It doesn't matter if it's 4 109s or just 1. The whole marker goes away. But, and whoops, that's not the right card anymore. That was just an example. So, it vanishes. And the only thing left is to check this hit. And if you remember, we have to roll 4 or higher to be safe. 1. Oh, poor Gordon is going to crash a fuselage. And like Storm Above the Reich, there's a fate box. And just for fun, this rule doesn't come into play either. But we roll on the fuselage fate box, and it's a 6, which means the Spitfire crashes. And the question becomes, does he bail out? 12. Yes, he will successfully bail out. So he lives. He crashes, but he lives. All right. So that is scenario 1. As you can see, very easy. Just draw a card, apply what you see on it, and that's it. Speaking too soon, it is a little more complicated than that. And so we go on to scenario 2. What happens when the enemy is tailing us? And so we are. This scenario is called Tailed. 18th of August, 1940, the ME-109s of ace pilot Helmut Wick, 3rd slash Jäger, oh, how do you pronounce that? Jagerschwaders 2, or Spy, are escorting a bombing raid over England. Wick sees a section of Spitfires coming at him head on. I pulled the stick backwards, he recalled later, and positioned myself behind them. You are controlling red section of this Spitfire squadron. Wick's single ME-109 sets up tailing it. Maneuver to shake off this 109, and if possible, shoot him down. All right. At first, I need to point out that you should always resolve head-on attacks first, and then tailed. And when it comes to tailing, before I draw a card, I get to decide if I want to do a maneuver. And I have 3 options. One is an evade. This will allow me to draw 2 cards and pick the one I like, and shake off 1 plane, and I could automatically. The other one is slip. This will let me slip in one of these guys in a section. This is a section. And slip in behind him and attack him from there. And the other one is turn, where I turn the whole section around to face him head on. And I believe that the Spitfires and the Hurricanes, I think, had better turn radiuses than the BF-109s. Anyone historically minded can fill us in on that, but that's what I understand from reading this. And I think I'm going to go ahead and try a turn maneuver. What this will happen, we draw the tailed car for Spitfires, and we're looking for a turn result on the card, and we get it. This is our section. We're against a B109, so we go with this, and we do get the turn symbol right here. And there's something that would happen. This is for in case there's a green pilot. We don't have a green pilot, so we don't care about that result, but the main thing is we do turn. So we're going to successfully turn around and face him head on, and well, we'll just use perspective here. Okay. We also have to apply a bunch of things here. One, reduced, so he's actually going to go away. This is a green hit if there was any green pilots. There's not. This is fuel, which would cost us, but we're not in the patrol mode, so this is not going to count. This is for the big game, the patrols and whatnot. This is just a dogfight, though. And unfortunately, one of our planes is hit. And so when that happens, you figure out which one by rolling a die. And 12 would be this guy right here. On the 4, wing 4. Now we just need to, I don't know if I'm going for 7. So he shakes that. 7 is higher than 4, so that's just a trivial hit. He shakes it off, and he's still in the fight. But the bomber, we've gotten rid of the bomber, and so that scenario ends. So that would, according to the score chart here, that would be considered an inconclusive fight. Nobody got shot. Well, there was no real serious hits on him, no severe hits. That's the end of that one, and at this point I think we're going to go ahead and stop and send this out, and when we pick up next time we will try what it's like to be on the tail of an enemy, and then we're going to start getting into the advantage cards, which will add a little more spice to the dogfights. Until then, thanks for watching.